Good morning and welcome everybody. It's so fantastic to see you all on this call. And my goodness, there's so many of you here today in schools all across the country. My name's David and I'm standing in one of 6 ballet studios at the Royal Opera House in Covent Garden. Now that is a giant theatre in the centre of London and it's home to the Royal Ballet. It's where they train, it's where they rehearse and it's where they do their performances. Now, the Royal Opera House is a house of stories, and we would like to invite you all to join us and help us to tell our stories. But we're not going to be using words, we're going to be using movement and dance. You're about to embark on a Create and Dance Alice's Adventures in Wonderland programme in your school. Now, this will give you all the tools to create your own dances and tell your own stories. And we've got some Royal Ballet dancers with us today to help to kind of kick-start you into action and inspire your journey. In December, we're all going to come back online and we're going to share what we've learned together. And hopefully, we're going to try to create the world's largest Mad Hatter's Tea Party. But before we meet the dancers, just want to check that you can all see me and you can all hear me. We're on Zoom today. Can you give me a wave, just so that I know that you can see me? Can you give me 2 waves if you can hear me? We're hoping not to have any technical issues today, but if your screen does sort of freeze, we're going to be putting some footage, some YouTube links for footage from a ballet into the chat function. So teachers, just to check that you can use that chat function correctly, can you change your name from your tile to the name of your school, just so that we know who you are? This will also kind of fulfill our safeguarding criteria, so please, teachers, will you do that now? And also, just to let you know, teachers, that we're recording this session today, so if there are any children in your group that are not allowed to be filmed or photographed, please will you make sure that they're out of shot. Now, the dancers that we're going to invite have done their warm-up already, but we all need to warm up ourselves. So if you're able to check the space around you, can you stand up if you can? If you can't stand up, that's fine, you can keep seated. But we're going to learn a little movement. So sitting up tall or standing up tall, I'd like you to start by opening the doors, calling in your friends, and this is the movement for dance. Now that is our everybody dance motif. Shall we do it one more time all together? Sitting tall, standing tall, open the doors, call in your friends, and dance. Wow, well done. I was watching you do that on the screen. That was really fantastic. Well done. So we're going to think about the story today of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. It was written by somebody called Lewis Carroll. Now there's a word for somebody who writes stories. Do you know the word? If you know what the word is, put it in your chat now. What's somebody who writes stories? That's right, it's an author. So Lewis Carroll was the author, but Christopher Wheeldon created all the movement. Does anybody know the word for somebody who creates dance? If you know the word, put it in your chat now. I'm going to see if anyone's getting it right. What's the word for someone who creates dance? I can see a hand up there at Hawthorne Tree School. Someone's got a hand up. Yes, I can see 2 hands up. It's a choreographer. Well done. The designs are made by Bob Crowley, and some of you on this call today will be doing the Create and Design Challenge. So you'll be making designs. You'll be making the world of Alice's Adventures all around you. You might be making props. You might be making costumes. So the designer was Bob Crowley. And the music was written specially for the ballet by Joby Talbot. Now, the ballet here at the Royal Opera House starts in a garden, a huge house, and Alice is having a garden party with her family, and lots of amazing, interesting guests arrive at the party. Now, one of the guests at the party is actually Lewis Carroll himself. Now, remember, that was the author of the story. So Lewis Carroll is at the party, and he's doing a few magic tricks just to entertain all the guests. But at one moment in the story, he takes his camera out, and he takes a photograph, and as he pushes the button, the whole world freezes around him, just like statues. Can you all freeze in a statue shape? Can you keep it as still as you can? Can you make a shape with your body as if you're a statue that's frozen? Very good. Excellent, Paddock Wood Primary Academy. Very nice. Okay, come out of your freeze, otherwise I'll think that the Zoom thing is frozen, so I don't want that to happen. Brilliant. Sit down again. Well done. So as the world freezes in our story, the only people that are not frozen are Alice and Lewis Carroll. And then the magic begins. Lewis Carroll sprouts a little fluffy white tail and grows some pointy white ears, and he transforms into the White Rabbit. And Alice follows him down the rabbit hole, and then the adventures all start. Now, one of the characters that Alice meets when she's in Wonderland is the Duchess. So I'm going to ask Gary Avis, who is a principal character artist with the Royal Ballet Company, to join me, because he plays that role. Hi, Gary. Do you want to give them all a wave?
Hello, everybody. Nice to be here. Lovely to see you all.
So, Gary, can you tell us all about the character of the Duchess? What is she like?
So, the Duchess is a really loud, boisterous, and energetic character. She is the arch rival of the Queen of Hearts, and they have a little bit of a strange relationship because they don't really get on. But there's one really brilliant thing that we do in Act 3 in the ballet, which is in the Croquet Match. Now, croquet is a game where there are hoops that are in the ground, and we have to pass a ball underneath through the hoop. Now, in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, they don't have steel hoops and balls. They have flamingos that they use as a bat, and the balls are hedgehogs. So we have that actually in the ballet as well. So they have this game together, and they have sort of a competition to see who can win. And hopefully, I hope that the Duchess wins, but I don't think that happens.
Now, there's one thing I just want to be clear on here, Gary. You're talking about a Duchess. You're talking about she is doing this, she is doing that. So you are actually playing the role of a woman.
Yes.
A little bit like a pantomime dame.
Yes. So you can see I'm not exactly the right shape for a Duchess, but once I get the costume on, which is a great thing for everybody on the Create and Design course to understand, is that the costume really helps create your character. So the other thing that also I have to kind of contend with, being a dancer and also creating the character, is that I also have to wear heels. So as you can see, I'm not usually or used to wearing heels, but in the character I have to wear them to create their different walks. So the heels and the shoes can actually also change the way that I move, as well as the crinoline, because I have this very large skirt. So I have to take everything into consideration, costume and choreography, and also my character.
Fantastic. So if I can ask you, Gary, and if you can use your imaginations to imagine that he is in full costume, can you show us maybe a motif that would define the character, that teaches what your character is like by moving?
So I have various motifs that I try and establish for the character. So I start with, well, when I ever am given a character, I always find lots of images. I look through lots of books and find lots of footage, maybe on DVDs, even watch films. And I take something from each of those images and I try and create my own character, which is a really exciting thing for me as an artist. But there's one thing where I have to tell Alice off. And I'm sure that we've all been told off when we've been naughty, haven't we? But there's something that I do that's more exaggerated. So when I'm telling Alice off, I'm doing this to tell her off. So can you all do this? Because you're telling Alice off. So why don't you point at the screen and tell me off? Yes? So once I'm doing this, I have to then exaggerate it because my character is so big and naughty and horrible and grotesque. So I then add my head to make it look like I'm speaking. So I add my head. Yes? And then on top of that, I have to then put a dance step. So I'm doing the telling off, I'm speaking with my head, and then I'm also doing choreography at the same time. So that's a motif that happens several times within my piece of choreography within the kitchen whilst I'm looking after the baby and I'm talking to Alice.
Amazing. Do you think you can try that in your schools? Because I could see that you're still sitting down, some of you. If you've got space or if you want to sit up, do you want to try it one more time and do it with Gary? Do it along with him. So remember what he told you about the motif.
So stepwise, we're going to go right, left, right, left, right, left. Right, left, right, left, right, left. You want to try that with me? So just as a step, we've got right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And then on top of that, you're now going to tell me off. Yes? So now we're going to do two things together. You're telling me off, and you're doing the steps at the same time. Ready? And 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. Now on top of that, I'm now going to add a third thing. So you're now going to speak with your head, but quietly, so you don't actually speak. And you're going to use your head as if you're telling me off, but telling me off with your head as a language. Yes? So you're using all of your body language to tell me off. So I'm coming right at you, and you can come right at me. Ready? And 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. Good.
Wow, that was brilliant. And guess what? Do you know what you've just done? You have just learned a dance motif. Now, a motif is something that describes something about the character of your performance or your dance. So you have just done a Duchess motif, so well done for that. Now, Gary, you're a principal character artist, you're a dancer, but you've got another job here at the Royal Ballet. What's that?
Yes, they keep me very, very busy. I'm also a senior repetitor, which means that I help rehearse the dancers of the company, and I prepare and look after performances that hit the stage once we've rehearsed them.
And how long, on average, does it take, for example, to rehearse a ballet like Alice's Adventures in Wonderland?
Oh, so if we're putting Alice together, usually it takes around about 4 weeks in a studio, and then we will hit the stage with 1 week, and then the performances start. So all in all, it takes around about 6 weeks to do a whole 3-act ballet. But at the same time, we may be rehearsing that during the day, but we could be dancing a different ballet in the evening. So we're very, very busy, and we're always using our minds and our memories. So if you're doing that during the day, and then you're doing something different in the evening, that's what we call when you're using your memory boxes. So you put all of the choreography or the characters that you're using in each different ballet, and you put it into a little box, and then you store it in the back of your memory ready for the next time.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you, Gary. Thank you for bringing that to life. So we're going to meet another character now. So back to our story, back to Wonderland with Alice. Off she goes, following the White Rabbit, and she meets a character called the Knave. Now, the Knave of Hearts is fleeing, running away from the Queen of Hearts. And we're going to see some choreography by somebody else, a different choreographer. We're going to talk about that later, but this is Francisco, and he's going to dance a little bit from the Knave solo. From the Knave. Wow. Big round. Should we have a big round of applause for Francisco? That was brilliant. You can stand up and clap if you like. Thank you, Francisco. That was amazing. And thank you very much also to Rob Clark, who's playing the music live on the piano. That's his job. He usually sits in the studio and he plays all the rehearsals and all the ballet classes just with his hands. He tries to recreate the whole orchestra. Thank you so much. So that was some choreography by a wonderful friend of mine called Calvin Richardson. So Calvin, would you like to join me? Thank you. Give Calvin a bit of a wave. Give him a clap. There you go. Lovely waving. So Calvin, can you tell us a bit about the process that you went through to create this solo, or this, the relevance of where this sat?
Yeah, sure. So we had about 300 students performing with dancers from the Royal Ballet outside the theatre in Doncaster. And we really wanted this to be a collaborative process with the students. So what we did is
Just going to grab you a mic.
Oh, thank you. So what we did is create from motifs from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. We sent tasks out to all the schools for them to create their own version of the characters. And from that material, then we created the solos that you just saw now.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you took the children's motifs and you created a solo on a professional dancer. And how long did it take you to create what we just saw?
Oh, I think we spent about 3 weeks or so creating the material, and then as you were there, we had lots of students on the day, so that was all quite an intense process.
It
just
was an
putting it all-
amazing
yeah.
process. We had 300 children and 5 Royal Ballet dancers. You had the Knave of Hearts. Who else did you have?
We had the White Rabbit, we had Alice, we had the Mad Hatter, and we had the Red Queen of Hearts. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be quite nice, if it's all right, Francisco and Calvin, to maybe ask the children to do a little bit of a creative task together, because we've already learned what a motif is. It's something that describes our character. Now, there are quite a few very clear moves that the Knave does. Can you just sort of define any? Can you find any of them? What does he do, Francisco?
Hold the tray, maybe? The tray of tarts.
So he's got, oh yes, he's got a tray of tarts, and because he's been accused of stealing them by the Queen. So can we all think about how we're going to hold our tray of tarts? It could be in your hand, you could be balancing it on your shoulder, it could be on your back, it could be on your head. Think about how you're going to hold your tray of tarts. And then maybe can we make it move? Can we make your tray of tarts move in some way?
Go around.
We could make it go around. You could take your body around.
Do another spin.
Can you make your tray of tarts go under something or under a bit of your body? How could you take your tray of tarts? What do you think? Where could you do that? How could you make it go under? Could be under a chair in your class or under the table. Very good. So we've got our tarts. We've gone in a circle. We've gone underneath. What about through? How could we put the tarts through? Maybe could you make a shape with your body that you could put the tarts through? Wow, yes. And I noticed that his character does lots of big jumps. You've done some turns. I think we should have a jump. How are you feeling as a character? Are you feeling happy?
I'm a bit scared because I just saw the Red Queen and I'm a bit frightened.
So he's a very frightened character. He's frightened of the Queen. So can we have a jump? Any jump you like. Just create your own jump. It could be a jump just with your hands, or you could do an actual jump. But when you land, can you show me that you're scared? Have a practice. Let me see what you're going to come up with. Try a jump. Really show me you're scared. Francisco, what are you going to do? Brilliant. So you can either copy Francisco's or you could make your own. Shall we try that together with music? Let's just have a quick recap. So we've got our tarts, we're holding them. We make them go in a circle. We make them go underneath something, maybe through something else, and then a jump and a frightened position. Shall we do that all together with music? Rob, would you mind playing some music for us? Thank you. Off we go. Are you ready? Thank you, Rob. Very good. Well done. Thank you so much, Calvin. Thank you very much. So, we are going to go on with our story now, and we are going to meet another character. Actually, we're going to meet the same character again, but we've got to remember the journey here. So, the Knave has run past, and he's running away, but actually, in the end of the story, he is accused of stealing the tarts. And he's put on trial. And everybody, all the characters are in the courtroom. But Alice steps up and tries to stop the Knave from being executed by the Queen. So we're going to see a beautiful bit of dance from Christopher Wheeldon's ballet, Alice's Adventure in Wonderland, from the final pas de deux. I'd like to welcome Stephen McRae and Anna Rose O'Sullivan. Thank you. And Gary Avis is going to take us through a rehearsal to show you how they put a pas de deux together.
Hello, everybody. So this is Anna and this is Stephen, and they are principals with the Royal Ballet Company, and they are now going to be the Knave and Alice for you. So shall we go for 6 in? Is that right, Rob? Right, excellent. Okay, so we're just going to mark through, we'll do a section by section, and then we'll do a little picking at it for detail, which is kind of the sort of thing that we do in the rehearsal process to try and get things really perfect for you when you come and watch the ballet. Okay, 6 in. Thank you, Rob. And... Great. Excellent. Brilliant. Wonderful. Wonderful. Wasn't that brilliant? Excellent. Give them a round of applause. Yes. So actually, to be honest, I don't think there's much for me to pick at, but I'm going to be a little bit picky. So, right. So just go from where you start. So we're into... Now, before we do anything, I'm going to ask Anna to demonstrate to you how she doesn't get dizzy. Now, there are many, many times, as you can see, and there's going to be one much later where it's multiple in turn. But what is it that you do that stops you from getting dizzy?
So I always look at one particular spot, and I leave my head there, and then I bring it straight back. So it's called spotting. So you take a spot on the wall, and then you keep it, and you turn it.
Brilliant. Excellent. So shall we just have a quick go at that? If you just stand up, exactly where you are, so you haven't got to move anywhere, you just stand up exactly where you are. Now you're going to find something on the back of the wall, wherever you are, look directly in front of you, and then you're going to take your body and you're going to turn to your right, but you're going to leave your head and your focus exactly on that same spot. So ready, here we go. I'm turning my body, but I'm leaving my head, and then you've got to whip your head round as soon as possible, and then your body follows. Yes? So let's do that 2 times, yes? So ready, we're going to go, and 1, whip, and then on the second one, 2. And hopefully you won't feel dizzy. So that's exactly, well done everybody, that's really, really good, well done. So now you've learned the technique of spotting when you're doing a turn, which means that you're never ever going to get dizzy again. So you can use that when you go home, when you're in the playground. So let's just have a look from the beginning again. So, right, excellent. So we go. So you can see Anna's really spotting. Great. Wonderful. Good. Lovely, lovely. Perfect. Now I'm just going to quickly show you something. Now, Stephen's really good at keeping Anna on her leg, which means that she doesn't feel uncomfortable, and therefore she's really secure because they trust each other. So Anna knows that Stephen is going to be in the right place to look after her. But I'm going to ask Stephen to do it in a way where he takes Anna off her leg and she feels uncomfortable. So if you just go back into that shape for the promenade, which is into the arabesque. Now, this is when she's really on her leg. So you can see she's on her point shoe, and she's in a straight line all the way up, and Stephen has her on balance in one arm, and he's going to promenade her. So he's going to walk round her, and there you go. She stays on that spot and doesn't move. Now, I'm going to ask Stephen to do something really horrible for Anna. So this is going to be really uncomfortable. He's going to take her off her leg, either forwards or backwards, or sideways, and now he's going to promenade so she doesn't feel so comfortable now. Yes, so you can see the difference. Sometimes choreographers will ask people to take things off balance to help with the choreography, to make them more interesting. But for this piece of choreography, she needs to be on her balance all the way. Yes? So, carry on. So we've done the promenade. Brilliant. Great. Now, is there any way that we could just keep her leg parallel on the cabriole? That would be really nice. Yeah, great. Yes, lovely. Very, very nice. Good. Great. Now, she's doing exactly the same thing there. She's spotting. Brilliant. Now, what is I'm going to ask Stephen now, because this is a thing that the male dancers have to do a lot of, and that's lifting. So what is the technique for looking after a lady when you're taking her up into a lift? And how do you look after yourself? Do you have to work together quite a few times to rehearse to make sure it works?
Yeah, I think when you're lifting somebody, you have to really use your legs. You don't need to be the strongest person in the world to lift. But it's all about coordination. So if you want to throw a ball really high, you have to use your legs and your arms at the same time. And it's the same with lifting a ballerina.
Brilliant. So I'm just going to ask Stephen to just demonstrate that. So Anna will be in a position, and you will see that he'll use his legs, his arms, and his body weight to take her up, and then she will achieve the position in the air. Yeah. So this is just known as a pressage. This is a technical term for this lift. And Stephen is literally holding Anna in her position. He's going to go down using his thighs and his legs. And he's going to push with all his might all the way to the top. Isn't that brilliant? Isn't that good? Do you like that? That's a really lovely position, isn't it? Great. Okay, right, I'm now going to stop picking at them, and I'm going to ask them to continue the pas de deux where we left off. So, 6 in? Great, thank you, Rob. So 6 in. Okay. Anna's going to start spotting. So she's looking at that spot on the wall. She's keeping that focus. Woo! Here she goes again. Great. Lovely, lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Brilliant. Wonderful. Thanks, Rob. Thank you. Wasn't that brilliant? We can clap them again. I think they deserve it, don't you think? Yes. Right, I'm just going to ask Anna just to quickly ask or tell us about her point shoes. So, what is it that makes the point shoes so easy to dance in?
Well, they have a block at the end, but they're made out of sort of papier-mâché, if that's something you use at school in your art classes. So they do sort of deteriorate over time with all the sweat. But these are a brand new pair, so they're very good for turning because they have a solid end.
And the ladies, you have to really practice many, many years.
Yeah.
You can't first get a pair of point shoes and then go immediately on to points. So you have to be really careful that you go to a trained dance teacher and they help you learn how to go through all of your muscles through your feet. So
Yes.
you can't go immediately on to point. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. You have to do lots of exercises when you're younger to prepare your feet and make sure they're strong enough to take your weight.
Good. And when did you start doing point work?
I think I was about 12 years old when I properly started to slowly introduce it into my training at dance school.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Stephen, you don't have to do point work?
No, the boys and the men traditionally don't go on point, but some boys do use it in their training. But many of hours of my training was spent jumping and turning and flying around the studio.
Yeah, we're very lucky because lots of our male dancers are extremely good at big jumps, and we're looked after with an amazing medical team that look after us and assess all of our health care. So all of our dancers are really brilliant at being able to look after their bodies but also know exactly their extremes on dancing. So I just want to show you the very end of the pas de deux, if that's possible, which is the heart motif. Now, we're talking about Alice in Wonderland and we're talking about the Queen of Hearts. Now, there's a big motif that is very evident that we like to show. Now, I'm going to just quickly show you this one, because we've all seen this. Now, have you all done this before? Have you all done the heart shape before with your hands? Yeah, can you all do that? I can see you're doing that. That's brilliant. Wonderful. Now, I'm just going to show you in the choreography how two people make that shape. So we're going to see if we can try and create that shape. And this is the end of the pas de deux. So here we go. So we go up. Oops, there we go. And then, brilliant. So did you see just halfway? I'm just going to stop you halfway. So we've got this. So we've got one heart here. Can you see it? There. So there's one heart. And then they're going to change arms. And then there's the second heart. Did you see that? Excellent. Brilliant. Wonderful. So thank you very much. Brilliant. Wonderful.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Anna and Stephen. So if you wouldn't mind
Thank you,
staying
Rob.
with us, I'm going to invite everyone else because we've got a few questions from you all, and we've got some from the chat, and we've got some that you sent in. But I was so thrilled to see that partnering work because, Anna, I don't think it's just Stephen doing all the work here. It seems like you're doing quite a lot of it. Could you just explain what it's like being lifted?
Well, it's a lot of fun, and when you trust your partner like I'm trusting Stephen, you completely feel like you're flying in the air because you feel almost weightless because they're taking you up, and you have to maintain a lot of strength so that they can partner you, but ultimately it's the man lifting the lady.
But you have to be just as strong, really, to hold your position. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to lift you if you weren't. So do you have to do any specific training or strength awareness or upside-down stuff to help you with that?
Yes, we do a lot of Pilates and body conditioning exercises. So there are core stability. So that's the muscles inside, mainly in the stomach, are really, really strong. So if you imagine like a trunk of a tree, we need to be as strong and as rooted like a tree. So when we're partnered, we're not like a doll, we're not flimsy. We need to be completely straight so that they can take our weight off and on to balance and up in the air and twirl us around and all sorts.
Fantastic. So I'm just going to invite Gary and Francisco and Calvin back into the dance space. And just while they're doing that, I'm just going to remind us that some of us are going to do the create and design journey. So we'll be thinking about the costumes and thinking about the sets and thinking about creating the world around you. So we look forward to that too. But we've got a few questions for the dancers from you. And you can decide who wants to answer. So the first one, I think probably you can all answer. It just says, how do you become a Royal Ballet dancer? Who wants to start?
Okay, I'll start. I grew up in Australia, so very far away from the Royal Ballet. But I just fell in love with dance. And I was very lucky that I had teachers in Australia who encouraged me, and my family and friends encouraged me. And when I was 17, I was lucky to win a scholarship, and I was able to come to London and join the Royal Ballet School, and then eventually the company. But I did not come from a family that went to the theatre, so anyone watching this, the same thing can happen to you. If it's something you love doing, then this is absolutely a career that can happen for you as well.
What a brilliant answer. And we've got some more nationalities represented. We've got another fellow Australian. Same journey, similar?
Yeah, so I grew up in country Victoria in Australia. So I started out doing local Eisteddfods, or I think you call them festivals here. So, you know, similarly, I just had the support from teachers and family. So, yeah, anyone can do it. And yeah, similarly with scholarships and stuff, that was my path, similar to Stephen.
And how about you, Francisco? What was your journey?
I started a bit later. I played baseball. I'm from Florida, from the US, so it was a bit of a different journey. But my parents were actually ballet dancers, so they took care of a lot of my training until I came to London, to the school here at Royal. Yeah.
And Anna? Australia?
No.
Florida?
No, I'm from England, like you guys. But I started dancing around the age of 4 or 5, and that's because I just loved dancing and fell in love with it, similar to everybody here. I also didn't come from a family of dancers, so it just goes to show that a lot of us here didn't, and you can too. But if you have a lot of passion and you dedicate yourself to it, then you can achieve it as well.
Amazing answer. And actually, as you've got the microphone, Anna, there is a question which is definitely, I think, for you. It just says, actually, what does it feel like to wear point shoes? I mean...
Sometimes a bit ouchy, but yeah. You get used to it. I think when you do your training as a young dancer, you prepare your muscles in every way, and that's including your toes and your feet. And the skin gets very, very hard. So over time, they do become a little bit more tough and strong. And then when you put them in the shoe, it doesn't hurt as much every time. So you do get used to it.
Fantastic. And another question is, what is your favourite role? I mean, that you're all here. You've probably all got different favourites, but do any of you have an absolute favourite you think that's 100% the one I always dreamt of doing?
I always like to play baddies.
You like to play the bad guy?
Though I do like at Christmas, when we do Nutcracker, I do like to play Drosselmeyer, who's the magician, and he always likes to throw glitter around. So that's one of my favourite roles. But I mainly like to be a baddie.
What about you, Stephen? Have you got a favourite, or is there one that you still haven't done yet that you still think?
I have many favorites. I enjoy partnering these incredible ballerinas in all of the big classics that we do. But in Christopher Wilden-Zallis's Adventures in Wonderland, I created the role of the Mad Hatter, and he's a tap dancing Mad Hatter. And for me, it just celebrates dance in many different ways. And for all of you watching, dance has so many different languages, whether it's ballet, tap, Spanish, hip-hop, whatever kind of movement you want to do, there's something for everybody. So I think the tap dancing Mad Hatter is one of my favorites.
And you do it so well.
I recently did Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet, which I really enjoyed. It was, you know, a part that I felt I can really be myself on stage. It was, you know, one of my first big opportunities, which was, yeah, really fun.
And Calvin, we've met you today as a choreographer, but you're also an incredible dancer. What do you feel? Choreography, dancing?
Oh, I think that's something I've grappled with over the years, and I think I'm a bit more relaxed with it now. But yeah, just making space to be more than just a dancer, and to be an artist is to be creative and to put yourself into your art, and I try not to define that anymore. So yeah, I love the creative work, and I love creating with people, and I get that as a dancer, but also as a choreographer as well.
I think that's one of the main things that's so exciting about this project, is the fact that although we're talking about ballet dancing or dancing in general, I think what's so wonderful is that we don't just dance, we create characters, we create different human beings or mythical characters, even baddies. So, and so it's really interesting for us because it's not just about the technicalities of dancing. You can really involve yourself with becoming a person with all different facets of kind of complications and worries and happiness, and you can put all different senses and feelings into that one character.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much for those brilliant questions and those brilliant answers. We're almost running out of time, so I'd just like to remind teachers, if you take the time to fill in the survey after this, that would be fantastic. We really appreciate your feedback to make sure that we know we're doing this right, or if there's anything we could improve on. And also, we're really excited in December to get back together, all of us, online, and join ourselves and find out what we've learned and have a giant, giant Mad Hatter's tea party. So all I've got to do is say thank you very much to Rob Clark for his brilliant music on the piano. A huge thanks to Calvin, to Francisco, to Anna, to Stephen, and to Gary. Good luck with your journeys. See you all soon. Bye.